Humber Bridge marks the gateway to this great rugby league city, and today its two teams meet for a New Year's derby. Just down the road from the Boulevard, Hull City have already beaten Leeds United this morning 3-1. And we're guaranteed at least one more set of the city's supporters returning home happy tonight, although that won't necessarily mean happy families. Even the teddy bear takes sides at the guest house run by Carol and Colin Cooper near Spring Bank in Hull. She first watched Rovers when she was 6. He's a lifelong Boulevard regular. Where rugby league's concerned, they've had almost 25 years of married argument. At the Cooper's butcher's shop, they work together in harmony. On derby days, it's different, especially if Hull lose.
It's always the referee's fault. Mind you that all black and whites blame the referee.
No, we don't.
What's Carol like when she's lost?
Well, she takes it very good, sometimes very sarcastically, but she takes it very well. Yeah.
How did it come about that you support the one team and Carol supports the other?
Well, I was born in Beverley, which is the west side of the river, and Carol's from East Hull, which is naturally Rovers' end of town.
Was she a rival when you married her already?
Well, she was, but she didn't tell me until about an hour before I was married. So it didn't give me a lot of choice, really. I didn't have time to back out, but we haven't done bad, really.
You survived how long despite all that?
25 years in March, yeah.
And what's the atmosphere like on match days when it's a derby day?
There's quite a bit of aggro, I can tell you, yes.
Well,
it was especially if we meet up with some of our friends as well, there's quite a bit of battering goes on.
Get very excited on the day. I come to blows, not quite blows really, do we?
We did once at Boulevard,
did
yes.
We?
I remember we took a couple from York with us and they said never ever again. But today we're sitting apart, so we should be able to behave ourselves.
Well, Carol will be glad to know the record books show Rovers have the edge in these meetings. 89 wins against 82 for Hull and just 10 draws. Perhaps the most memorable meeting of all was at Wembley in 1980 in the Challenge Cup final. A 10-5 victory for Rovers sent their followers delirious. But for today's fans, that's history. Although Rovers supporters will be looking to a man who played in that game. Mike Smith, their standoff, made his 400th appearance against St Helens last month. David Watkins.
Rated in the game as a class centre three-quarter, now playing standoff. As you can see here, Mike can split defences and score match-winning tries. A key figure in Rovers' side. A great playmaker, never afraid to take the game by the scruff of the neck. An inspiration to his teammates with his all-round ability. A match winner, something Hull will have to be aware of. His opposite number, Gary Pearce, showed at Halifax he too can create try-scoring situations. Although he's still settling down in the game, the former Wales Rugby Union international is a good runner with a shrewd eye for a gap. He distributes the ball well and is a most prolific goal kicker. He must also be prepared to back up his forwards and take on the opposition to boost his confidence and that of the teams.
There's a new name on the Hull subs bench today, John Carroll, the forward who's just arrived from Batley. 18-year-old Lee Jackson is hooker in place of Sean Patrick, who broke his jaw last week. Rovers also have their first-choice hooker missing. Chris Rudd broke his skull in a car accident. Former Great Britain captain David Watkinson is a useful replacement indeed to have available. And at number 4 for Rovers, Peter Mortimer, who has more than just rugby skills to offer.
They say the Battle of Hastings was one hell of a bar-room brawl, and another memorable bust-up became the bloody Second World War. When Napoleon met his Waterloo, he lay whispering to his bride, "You ain't seen nothing yet till you've seen the Battle of Humberside." 26 soldiers going to war, 13 apiece on each team. And believe it or not, they carry no arms, but they fight for a ball and a dream. Sacrificing both body and soul to encroach the enemy's line, and they fight to score points, limited only by courage, ability, time.
Time for talking, even in verse, is now over. Only actions will count, and the contest promises to be as tight as any between the teams down the years.
Hull KR, the Robins in red and white, kick off through the boot of Mike Fletcher, and Hull in the black and white. The early birds are first on the attack as Lulai slipped that ball out to his left. And really charged up atmosphere here at the Boulevard. A long raking kick, but it's out on the full. Well, the most experienced official today for this match, and Jerry Kershaw from Easingwold. And any derby match needs a man of this experience. David Watkins form goes out of the window on these occasions, doesn't it, in Derby Day?
It most certainly does, and I mean the atmosphere here is electric, and it's a near capacity crowd, and I'm sure that both sides are keen to go home this afternoon victorious.
Yes, I heard one lady Rovers fan saying to Peter Mortimer before the start, "Don't you dare lose or we won't talk to you the rest of the week." That's how much it means to them. And it's Rovers on the attack here with Glenn Ryan, Gordon Smith, Zukema. And the ball slipping from the hand there. Nothing to do with the wind, but there is, I assure you, a very strong wind here on Humberside today. That's typified by the flag. Devorty. Well, you can bet that both these sides are pretty tense in the early stages, just finding their feet. At the play the ball, the young hooker, Lee Jackson. Pearce's left boot. Jerry Kershaw sees that as a knock-on. So an undistinguished start to the game there for Hull KR. It was a good kick from Pearce.
It was. There's no doubt in the early tactic is using this wind and getting Hull in a position where Hull KR have to fight hard to get out of their half.
Bit of a messy one, but the first penalty of the day, and it goes to Hull. The referees certainly have to know the signals. It was a very animated one there from Jerry Kershaw, but Hull now have taken play to within just a few yards of the Rovers line. And first up there was Terry Regan, the big Aussie. From Manly, and this is the other Australian, David Brooks. The two of them have settled in really well at the Boulevard since their arrival this season. Hull looking to swing it right. Devorty was a good handler. Pearce, Fletcher took the ball in his stride. It slipped, I think. There was some rather heavy rain early this morning. Going to be greasy. The ball flying through the hands, and Pearce attempting to put the first points of the day on, but his effort is wide. And I think you'll be disappointed with that because the angle was a good one. It
most certainly was. He seemed to have plenty of time as well, and that was an important one because points on the board with this wind is going to be important in this game this afternoon.
So the Rovers put in. And the ball has come out on the Hull side. I must say I was a bit surprised about that. So it's given the chance of Fletcher tearing forward. That was a good run from the fullback. And Hull looking particularly dangerous here with Lualai, Devorty. That was Ryan's tackle, but Hull have really got chances here. Fletcher swinging it wide, Lualai. Can he go all the way himself? Hauled back by about 4 red and white shirts. Lualai, that's how close he is to the line. Jackson, an acting halfback. Devorty now looking for a way through himself. He's only 3 or 4 yards out. Stern defending here from Rovers, and he tried to play the ball himself over the line. And in the end, Hull lost it, so the ploy didn't come off. But that's how close Hull were, the closest we've seen.
They really are taking the initiative at the moment. Hull KR seem to be laboured with their movement, but with that, Burton has just streaked away on a galloping run at the far touchline.
Yes, he's certainly not laboured today. Smith to Emma. Ryan now. Nicely done. Some ferocious tackling, especially from Hull in these early stages. They've certainly got the bit between the teeth. So David Watkinson, how useful for Roger Millward to be able to call on him with Chris Rudd out. Long kick through, going straight to Paul Eastwood. He's a bit of a flyer, this lad. Brings in Fletcher, and he then took an almighty blow from Ryan. And the crowd around me screaming for some action to be taken against the Australian. The referee obviously hasn't seen anything, neither has the touch judge, so play carries on, while Eastwood is stretched out in front of us. John Carroll, the substitute there in the action for the first time. He's just come on in place of Mick Sutton. And when there's Eastwood, wishing he hadn't caught that ball. The Rovers will be desperately keen to get inside the whole half. They've only been there once in the opening minutes, but Parker, with some elusive running, switches the ball wide right, bounces past Ryan. Burton again. And he looped that one in the air. Fortunately for him, it came back to a Hull KR pair of hands. Parker gets inside one challenge. And on the last tackle now, signified by referee Kershaw there, you can expect a kick, I would imagine. And Mortimer gets it out to Steve Smith, who loses it, and the ball's out of play.
Well, there's been a sad feature of the game so far, is that everybody seems to be taking an eye off the ball. That just shows how competitive and how action-packed this game is going to be, because both sides at the moment are taking some time to settle down.
Yes, it's a typical derby game, nervous. And both sides did look immensely tense before the start, but this is better from Hull. Lulai, not great tackle though, and a chance for Rovers here as Mike Smith drops on the ball. Zukema, head down. And again, Burton's the man in there. He is keen for work today, Chris Burton. Terrible luck with injuries down the years. Happily restored to full health as Mike Smith. He's trying to use Mortimer as a foil, I think, then. Gordon Smith. Great tackle, a double tackle, but in fact, fortunately for Rovers, the ball came back to them on the last tackle. Well, a chance for a drop goal, I would have thought here. Yes, Wayne Parker must have a go, and the ball fairly sails through the middle. And it's 1-0 Rovers.
Well, that's a great psychological blow as far as Wayne Parker was concerned. He's been very lively at scrum half, and he's made the most of Hull KR's pressure by converting it into points. And that's important, to have an early start with a point on the board in this derby match, which has obviously got a lot more to offer.
It's a television speciality for Wayne Parker. He did exactly that against St Helens with the first point of the game.
He really does size up the position here, takes it all the time in the world and just lets fly with a superb drop goal which goes right between the sticks.
Out on the Rovers side with Gary Clark. No way through there for Mike Smith. Seen an enormous amount of the ball, is Emmett. And of course, every time we televise one of these games, there is a Stones Bitter Man of the Match award. And at the moment, I would think that Emma is a candidate for the way he's been playing, but these are early days. And yet again, a handover. Well, we've had more handovers in this one game than I think we've seen in the 3 previous matches we've covered. Here's Lulai for Hull, good ball inside. Well, Hull, for all their pressure, haven't got a point on the board yet. big John Carroll. Fair old match to make your debut in, isn't it, the derby? And again, the ball going out of the hand and over to the opposition. I can't really explain all these drop passes.
Everything seems to be so they're doing things far too quickly, then they're doing things slow, which means that the man isn't running onto the ball at the last minute, he's taking his eye off it, and both sides have been guilty of it.
Burton, done well. Smith. And that's really into no man's land. Fortunately for Gordon Smith, it was picked up by Mike Smith. He was trying something, we'll give him that. And again, Taylor there in the tackle didn't really need to throw that pass out. As a result, Hull have got the ball back. Roger Millwood will have been too impressed by that. Gary Devorty. On strong running from Devorty, and it took a good tackle to bring him down. And the penalty to Hull. Good running from Devorty in the first place.
It was, and I suppose it was a try-saving tackle in a way, and a penalty will be a small compensation to them for what would have been a good run.
So a chance here for Gary Pearce. There he is. Known as the Iceman, and of course came from Llanelli last season, but has really established himself this season.
Yes, he's playing much better. He's got a little bit of confidence now, and he seems to be doing things himself more, not relying on others.
We'll hear a roar from the Hull fans if this one goes through the middle. As it does. 2-1 it is to Hull. And psychologically, Hull needed those points because they've battered away at the Hull KR line for nothing.
Yes, they have. Both sides have been guilty of a lot of handling errors, but Rovers must have been quite happy to be 1-0 up and holding Hull. Hull have made that tell now, and it's 2-1 with a bit more win. Look at this, straight through. That's the sort of confidence the boy has now got.
Rovers winning the scrums. 10 minutes from half-time. And they've won another one. Hull have won the only one against the head. So young Lee Jackson has done his job well. Tremendously well, Zugema. Got the pass away that time as well to Mortimer. Needs something incisive. Has Fairbairn got it? Almost. Good tackle brought him down just when he was going through the gap. And again, it was Jackson who got him by the heel. So once more, the 18-year-old serving his side well. But that's a useful-looking kick, and that's going to drift over the line just where it was intended. Lovely grubber kick. Young Lee Jackson, the hooker, coming in as he has done for Sean Patrick, has performed very creditably.
He most certainly has. He's got stuck in. He knows he's up against a former Test Great Britain hooker in Watkinson, and he's gone about his task with enormous enthusiasm.
Can he win this scrum? The answer is yes. Was dodgy. Mortimer was coming in, and Vass just clinging onto the ball when it most mattered. The most sensible thing I've ever seen, and I think we can see the whole of Lualai's skin there. They're willing to throw the ball around, and Carroll to go it alone. There's yet very few flowing movements, and McCaffrey has kicked to good effect And there again the wind carrying that ball all the way to Fairbairn. And that's Gary Clark to do the running. A solid wall presented by Regan. Emma and Burton have worked as hard as anyone in this Rovers side. They've very rarely been close to the whole line. To Gordon Smith, come through, but straight to McCaffrey. Even the crowd have gone a little bit quieter for a moment. I'll tell you they'll roar all right if Hull get a try, and Bass is making a good run here, flings a lovely ball out to Eastwood, who slipped at a critical moment there as he was coming inside. Nice run from Stuart Bass, who's in possession again now. Devorti, longer ball, and it was for Regan. And an important tackle there. With men waiting, Mike Smith simply had to make that tackle. And again, Hull have lost it. It really is extraordinary the number of times that the ball has gone to the opposition out of their hand. Parker, and he's done very well, and he's got Smith at his shoulder, and the pass will elude Smith, but he's picked up by Mortimer. Smith going down the middle, that was good play from Smith, and he's got Emma there alongside him. The best we've seen from Rovers on attack, coming through Mike Smith's run through the middle, and now they've plenty of men up. Gordon Smith, Burton, and it's Hull's turn, and again the ball is knocked and lost by Burton, and again the handling has been poor. So we still await the first try of the game as a penalty is given. Wow. This should be a very good chance for Rovers as Fairbairn comes in on the line. They've got 6 tackles. And Smith finding Burton. Burton and Emma have been able to run through the first couple of tackles on many occasions today. So this, without doubt, the closest that Rovers have got to the Hull line. And what a good time it would be for them to score just before half-time. The ball has been lost again. It just seems nobody's able to hold on.
It's just difficult. I know local derbies are either scintillating games or dull, drab, dour games, and this most certainly has been. The number of errors has been quite astronomical.
This time it's a penalty for Hull FC. Just when they need it, it does give them a breather. Three minutes to the half-time hooter, and Hull look like ending the half as they started it on the attack. They've not been able to breach the Rovers' defence. And now Pearce has lost it in the tackle. So Mike Smith has just found one gap, might try and exploit another. Ryan. Fletcher. And still Fletcher. Ran well there, Mike Fletcher. Here's Mike Smith. He's played in a lot of derby games, so has this man, Gordon Smith. Fairbairn's up there with him. That was much better from Rovers. They've got their act together a little bit in the closing stages of this half, and here's Gordon Smith using Mortimer as a foil and then dropped the ball. And what's more, he's given away a penalty as well. In fact, there's a crossover. So obstruction gives Gary Pearce the chance to boot the ball high into touch. Eastwood. They had one run, Paul Eastwood, and he caught at the ankle by Ryan, but the ball's still moving with Vass. And that's great running from Regan. And then yet again the ball goes to ground, the opposition has it. It's been the familiar pattern of the half as we approach half-time. Ross Taylor's made a bit of ground there for Rovers. And the ball gets slipping out of Gordon Smith's hands, picked up by the other Smith, Mike. Now by George Fairbairn. Well, we always feature errors in play in our coverage, and just look at that. Hull have made 12 errors, Hull KR 10, but this looks better. Much more promising from Parker as he took the ball from Emma, flings it out wide for Gary Clark. Clark steaming in at the corner, must get there surely. He is. Gary Clark's in for the first try of the day. What a great time for Rovers to get it. Just within 30 seconds of the hooter.
Well, it's that man again. You watch a quick play of the ball here, and Mike Smith, the man at the centre of most things, brings the ball inside. Look how Emma comes off the ball, pushes one aside, and good backing up again there by Parker. Moves the ball out, and watch this long pass. This is a hallmark of a good pass, right out to the touchline, and makes no mistake about it, Gary Clark. He knows where he's going. Good try.
The 99th try of his career. And as I said, what a great time to score it. Well, it's a very, very daunting prospect for Mike Fletcher to try and convert. Right out on the touchline, as you can see. And we'll try and follow this one all the way for you. He's hooked it. And it was a good attempt from that sort of distance. And there, in fact, goes the hooter. Psychologically, David Watkins, a great boost up for Rovers.
Oh, that's just what they wanted. They've been playing against the wind. Hull haven't they've made a lot of errors. Both sides have made a lot of errors, but they've come back. And again, it's that Mike Smith, genius of a player, isn't it, outside off. Moved the ball. Emma backing up as always, made the initial break. And Parker's long pass over meant that Gary Clark scored. And they must be delighted with that at half-time.
But plenty of talking for the coaches, I would imagine, in the dressing room. Just the one try then in the half, scored 30 seconds from the hooter by Gary Clark. Hull, a lot of effort, a lot of endeavour, only a goal from Gary Pearce to show for it. Half-time, Hull 2, Hull KR 5.
Well, Roger Millwood, I would have thought rather too many mistakes for you in that first half.
Yes, there's a lot of mistakes. That's the priority we've said. We've got to cut the mistake rate down. We've got to use a good kicking game this second half and make sure we've got good chasers and do the job down in their half.
Mistakes due to the tension or the wind?
I think probably due to both. There's a lot of tension out there, there's a lot of wind, it's difficult conditions.
But obviously a bit more confident after that try just before the
That was a very good try, well taken, yeah.
Well, Roger Millwood was looking as tense there as the players, but of course, David Watkins, this is the match that neither coach dare lose.
Well, that's right. I mean, they've got a lot to play for here today. Both sides are languishing near the bottom, and the more points they get will push them up the table. And away from home as well, Roger will be quite happy to take the points.
So the 3-point advantage for Rovers at half-time. It's not often that derby games are high-scoring. That would have been a most amazing catch. So Eastwood's allowed to carry on. So referee Kershaw obviously didn't feel as though he knocked the ball forward there. That's the way the scrums have gone in the first half. Watkinson a good start, but for Hull, young Lee Jackson has won the only scrum against the head. And that's much better from Hull, and McCaffrey here. That was slick handling.
Well, there's no doubt what Len Casey was saying at half-time. You've got to back the man up with the ball and keep your eyes on the ball.
Yes. Fletcher. And, no way for Lualai past the other Fletcher. And here's the try scorer, Clark. Gemma. Here's Jackson, and here's the white shirt of the substitute, Neil Puckering. That's very clean for the moment. I've no doubt he won't in a moment or two. Puckering's on, though, for Wellham. So the two props who started this game, Mick Sutton and Paul Wellham, both off. Sutton, I don't think, lasted a minute. Seems to run amongst Hull subs. One went off at Halifax. All props. Now O'Hara. And that's very good running from Dane O'Hara. He eventually met a man in a red and white shirt. That's out on the full, ball back.
Well, they've certainly come out this second half, Hull determined. They're stringing the passes together, but they've got an awful lot to do, because if Hull KR do use the wind properly, as I've no doubt Roger will tell them to do it, they'll keep Hull hopefully pinned in their own half.
The Australian back for the New Zealander. Gordon Smith to Steve Smith. No relations, all these Smiths in the Hull KR side. Gordon, Steve, Mike, and here's Watkinson. Is finding progress very difficult to make at the moment. And screams for a fumble there, but didn't matter anyway. Here's Paul Fletcher. He's got past the first man, Burton. And Jackson, almost up to halfway. Vass. Devorty flinging a longer ball to Pearce, who tried to come inside and did well to get that ball back to Devorty in the tackle. Well, two of the players around who work all their set moves, and Hull really have found it hard this season, obviously, to replace the likes of Lee Crooks and Gary Schofield, two great players they've lost. That's a new shout in rugby league, get them onside. Here's Vass. Again, the ball slipping, almost like Vaseline, dare I say, out of his hands, and it's given Rovers a chance. So there must be chances for Rovers here. And in fact, Jerry Kershaw is coming up, and I think he's going to award a penalty to Rovers.
Yes, an infringement in the tackle, and I think Steve Smith was held down. The referee didn't agree with it, obviously, and he's penalised.
Well, Fletcher decides that he's going to have a go at goal, and I suppose it's good thinking, because a 7-2 lead is, well, it means they've got to get a try, Hull, then.
Well, that's right, it's a wise decision, this. It's got the wind. If he kicks it dead, of course, it means that Hull still have to kick it back out to Rovers, so they retain possession or gather points.
Again, it's not an easy kick. right-footed. Hurls it round. Do the flags go up? They do. And what a good kick, and again a great moment for that ball to go through the post for Rovers. It's 7-2, they're in front, and Mike Fletcher kicks his 56th goal of the season.
Well, he'd be very pleased with that. He caught that just right and really hooked it around. Ideal position for round the corner on the left-hand side of the field for a right-footed kicker.
And with 14 minutes to go, Jerry Kershaw is determined that those packs are going to retreat a little bit. Come on, lads, get your heads together. In it goes. And who's won it? This is a crucial scrum. Which way is Jerry Kershaw going? It's out for Rovers. So chances here. Ryan whips it along the line. The substitute. Oh, he's going for the line as Lydiate. Well, we've seen John Lydiate score tries from just that sort of position before. And there must be tries, the chance now of a try. They're right under the sticks. And Rovers would see this as a real clincher if they could get it. Zukema. He's never stopped working. And the drop goal attempt here, it's charged down, but that means that they'll get 6 more tackles. Hull fans don't like it, Rovers fans do. Watkinson, thought he was going to get away then for a second. Beale's the next man up. Here is Watkinson, plays it himself. He's trying to steal the glory, I think. David Watkinson hasn't got a try since last March. It'll be a great time for him to get one so far as Rovers are concerned. Malcolm Beale plunges a few inches closer. And the anxiety on the whole faces there as this ball is whipped left to Ryan. He can't get it out though. Good tackling from Hull, but Rovers must show some imagination here. And in fact, there's an offside against Hull, penalty for Rovers.
Well, that was very fortuitous because they didn't seem to have much idea from the play of the ball. They plunged, and it really did need the ball moving out wide, using a blindside move, doing something in particular, but they weren't, nothing forthcoming at all, and they've been very fortunate to pick up the penalty.
These Rovers were playing one-man rugby really then. But now, Mike Fletcher has the chance to stretch the lead to 9-2 and virtually take the game away from Hull. We'll see here just what he's got to aim at. It's not a bad angle. And the wind seems to have relented for a moment as well. Is it straight? It is, certainly smack through the middle. 9-2 it is for Rovers. Well, if you were Len Casey now, David Watkins, what would you do to reverse this situation?
I think they've got to throw caution to the wind. They've got to start moving on the outsides. They've got to get the men moving on the outside. The Hull have really got to start putting it together, otherwise it's definitely a lost cause.
But Hull haven't always had the support when there's been a break. They're still desperately looking for a way through. And there's a danger then of giving the ball away, and indeed possession has now been lost and gives Fletcher a chance to run. Still going Fletcher through the middle. That's great running, but he can't get the ball inside to Parker. But for Rovers anyway, they've got the ball back, and that's what they want with not long to go. Possession of paramount importance. And that's another penalty given to Rovers.
Yes, an obvious penalty then. I mean, the ball was touched back and the Hull player was standing in offside position. And that's a sad reflection, really, on what has happened at Hull. They just haven't had any method. They've lacked cohesion of any sort, really, and it's been ones and twos running together without any real pattern behind their play at all.
With just 4 minutes to go then. Fletcher tries to seal the points for Rovers, as he surely does. 11-2 now, and that, I would think, is going to be too big a mountain for Hull to climb. A 9-point gap.
Yeah. Well, another good shot. Good goal kicking. I know it's wind assisted, but he still has to put them over, and he's most certainly done that this afternoon.
2 minutes to go. And I think that's Rovers who've got that ball. Peering out of the gloom, Wayne Parker. Back inside for Lydiate. Rovers have certainly enjoyed more possession in this game, and they've made it count. And they've also kicked their penalties when they've had them. So this victory will open up a 4-point gap between the sides. This time the penalty goes to Hull, but it's a little bit belated, I imagine. Carroll. I certainly remember his first derby game for Hull. Not with great pleasure. The side has lacked inspiration throughout. And Pearce is brought to ground by Ryan. And I think even the Hull supporters realise now this is a lost cause. And they're going to go down to the old enemy. That tackle was a little bit too high for the liking of Jerry Kershaw. Terry Regan got a fair old smack in the face then. And if I were him, I think I'd call it a day. Not much point in staying on with less than a minute left. But hello. I think he wants to stay on. Well, these Australians are tough guys, all right. So he's got a bit of headache. The play restarts. But we soon hear the final hooter, and it's not been a happy day for Hull FC. As Luai is collared this time. He's certainly played in better derby games than this, and now Devorty is clobbered by Chris Burton. Another head tackle. There's no need for that, absolutely, at this stage of the game.
None whatsoever, actually. He has a tendency now and again, this Chris Burton, of leaving that arm there, and Jerry Kershaw, rightly so, has cautioned him about it.
But for Hull, of course, no point in kicking at goal, with literally seconds left. And there indeed is the hooter, and there's jubilation for Rovers here. It's all over, and Rovers have won the Humberside derby by 11 points to 2. I'm not going to pretend that it was a pretty affair. It certainly wasn't, but a better team won on the day, David.
Most certainly did. A bit uninspiring. Not what one would expect from a derby with two sides of this calibre, but that's it. A little disappointing to the other games we've had in Scrumdown, but I suppose it was inevitable. There was so much at stake.
So it's the Rovers fans who go home happy. A low-scoring game then, 11 points to 2. The victory for Rovers, just the one try scored in the game by Gary Clark, just before the half-time interval, in fact. But on the whole, a disappointing derby game. Rovers win it by 11 points to 2.
Right, well, congratulations, Zook, on Man of the Match Award, Stone's Bitter Man of the Match Award. Local derby, hard game, but today's game won't have done you any harm for the Great Britain Tour this summer.
No, hopefully not, David. I had a good start to the season. Last couple of games I've gone off the boil, and with the help of all the rest of the team today, hopefully I can put myself back in contention. It was a good performance by all the team, first half particularly, against the wind. Second half didn't play as well as we would have liked to have done, but we tackled well, and that's what held the game off us in the end.
Well done. Anyway, congratulations. Here's your trophy and your £100 cheque as the man of the match.
Thank
Well
you
done.
very much, David.
Well done.
Cheers.
Both sides had to make change at hooker, with the experienced David Watkinson coming back for Hull KR up against young Lee Jackson for Hull. Jackson did well, but Watkinson won the scrum 7-3. but against the head, it was a little bit closer. Watkinson winning in the second half against the head. That was crucial. The referee's always busy in a derby game, but on this occasion, they came out even, 9 penalties apiece. There was an alarming number of mistakes during the game, perhaps due to the greasy conditions. Hull certainly made far more errors than Rovers, dropping the ball a lot, and it cost them dearly in the end. Perhaps the most important aspect of rugby league is the amount of time the ball is in the possession of any one side. Well, Rovers clearly came out on top. Our 2 stopwatches proved they had the ball 4 minutes longer more than Hull.